Aloha! Welcome to Talk Story.
With Jess and Laurie.
I'm Laurie Napua Fagan.
And I'm Jessica Chun Williams. And welcome to our second mini episode of Talk Story with Jess and Laurie. Today we are going to talk about three upcoming events. One is in just a couple of days in this week. And then we're going to talk about two events that are happening next week. A couple of quick announcements before we do that. First of all, on our first Talk Story, we were broadcasting live from the Phoenix metro area. Today, Laurie is still in the Phoenix metro area, Chandler to be specific, and I am live in Los Angeles metro, specifically Venice Beach. So hi everyone, and hope we can feel free to drop a comment or a emoji in the comments if you like. All right, so we are going to tag team it. So I'm going to turn it over to Laurie. She'll talk about one event, then she'll pass it back to me, etc. And before we get started, I wanted to also just quickly mention that if those of you that know Laurie and I, we are both very structured and planned folks. Laurie has a ton of experience in both broadcast and print journalism. I have a lot of experience around corporate training and communications. We both have done a lot of live and online events and so forth. But we decided that this time we would kind of ad-lib it a little bit. And so this is really exciting. It's also, for me, really terrifying because we're not quite sure how it's going to turn out. But we hope you'll stick with us and let's all find out together. So with that, I want to turn it over to my beautiful co-host, Laurie, to tell you about her upcoming book launch. By the way, I am so honored to be a co-host on that upcoming broadcast and see the birth of her third book in the series. So with that, over to you, Laurie.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, absolutely. I am honored that you're going to be with me and help me out on this. So, my latest book, where is it? There it is. Bleeder, the third book in my crime fiction series, is finally out. It is on pre-order as we speak, and it will be launching and available next Tuesday. And so we're going to do a party. It's like, why not? So we're going to do a live book launch party on Tuesday, November the 2nd, and it'll be at 5:30 Arizona and Pacific time. We're at the same at the moment. We will have some special guests, including Jessica, of course, as my co-host. And then I'm going to introduce you to my publisher with Short on Time Books. I'm going to let you meet another wonderful artist who writes mystery and thriller books, and she's from the Phoenix area. And then we have a publicist who's coming in from South Africa. So we're just going to have some fun. Of course, there will be book giveaways. So you will definitely want to be here for that and not miss it. And again, that's going to be next Tuesday, November the 2nd at 5:30 Arizona and Pacific time. It'll be right here, wherever you're seeing it right now. So it'll be on Read Laurie Fagan Facebook page. It'll be on my my Laurie Fagan profile page, and my new YouTube channel, which is also Read Laurie Fagan there too. And oh, by the way, bring a beverage of choice because we will be doing multiple toastings, I think, during that particular party. Because why not? We can do it. And instead of just having a small group somewhere, we can get people from all over. So we do hope you'll join us there. You can also get the book, and I'll tell you more how you can get that later. But book launch party for Bleeder next Tuesday, November the 2nd at 5:30. Now, Jessica has a fun Clubhouse thing to talk about. And this is something new to me, Jessica. So you got to help me through and our viewers through how we do Clubhouse. So take that away.
All right, but just as a little sneak preview of the book launch coming up on Tuesday the 2nd, I've learned that actually Laurie has named a character in the book about me, or the book after me. Wow. So I am super excited to find out what my character does, and beware of being friends with authors because you never know if you may end up in one of their works.
That's right.
So again,
and by the way, let me give a quick shout out to Barbara. Thanks for joining us here today.
Hi, Barbara, all the way from the East Coast.
That's right. And if you're watching, please do shout out, give us a comment as to where you are.
Yeah, exactly. Hello from, wherever you may be. So it'd be great. All right, so Clubhouse. I have an upcoming event on November 11th. My co-host is going to be in Melbourne, Australia. So we will be going live on Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app, at 3:30 Pacific time. But if you are down under in Australia or New Zealand, for any of you who may be watching, that is going to be actually Friday the 12th, sometime in the morning. So again, we'll be dropping more reminders and links as it gets closer. Before I talk about the event itself, this event is for people who are already on Clubhouse, or if you're curious and you want to join Clubhouse, I want to just take a minute or two to talk about what is Clubhouse, as Laurie said, because it's a newer social media platform. And so if you're already on Clubhouse, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or take a little mental nap because you know all this stuff already. By the way, those who know me know my day job is I work in tech. I do technology adoption. And so specifically, I help people learn and use new technologies. So I just want to talk for like 2 minutes about what is Clubhouse. This is not a paid advertisement, although Clubhouse, feel free to hit me up because I'm interested. Anyway, Clubhouse is a fun app. I know some of us were just figuring out how TikTok worked when in the last 2 years or so, I think Clubhouse, became available. So currently, anybody can join Clubhouse. You just go ahead and download the app from your app store, and then you load it and you set up a profile. Profile could be really simple and basic. It could literally just be your username. It's nice to have a profile picture. You don't have to put a description. You don't have to join any clubs, but it is nice to join clubs because that's how you could find out about topics that you're interested in, such as writing or cooking or people that live in your metro area or professional topics or, personal interest topics. You can also start a club. But again, you don't have to do any of that. You can just simply make an account and then see what's happening. Again, it's nice to join clubs just to see what events people are posting. So just a note about Clubhouse, how it works. It's audio only, no video, no images. So just like many of us like to listen to the radio or streaming services or podcasts, you know how you pick your channels and you like, your certain oldies channel or hip hop or news, right? Or you're listening to podcasts or whatever. So Clubhouse, instead of being this, it's kind of an effort to set up a program or a podcast, less so these days. Anybody can be a broadcaster on Clubhouse. But again, things are organized more into clubs to get you a little more channeled into the topics you're interested in, just like having your favorite radio station, right? You could be in clubs, they're like channels. So let me switch over to talking about how this event came about. That is, again, happening on November 11th. I am in a Facebook group called Subtle Asian Cooking. Again, not a paid plug, not that these groups pay, but a great, fantastic group. Again, it's Subtle Asian Cooking. And so there are over 300,000 members worldwide, and it's a fantastic source of inspiration, primarily focused around Asian cooking. For those of us, especially in what could be called the Asian diaspora, so we are Asian American, but we live in America or Melbourne, Australia, or wherever, right? So this cooking really connects us back to our culture. Well, I connected with another indie cookbook author, Harvard Wang, who's a professional photographer in Melbourne, Australia. And it just so happened that within just weeks of each other in 2020, during the pandemic, Harvard and I both indie published our own cookbooks. And so this past year has been a really interesting journey for both of us. We have our day jobs, and then we have our cookbook that we've just felt really strongly about publishing. So we were able to connect with a moderator, Amy Z. Chan, who is also an author herself, and who's a much more professional than us in moderating groups. There is a Subtle Asian Cooking Clubhouse Club, and so that is where we're going to be hosting our event on the 11th. Hope that some of you can join us there. It's, again, no pressure because you don't have to share your screen. There is no video. It's just going to be talking. But Harvard and I are going to talk about our journey, what propelled us to write these cookbooks, what they're about, and really some of the challenges. I think I can speak for you, Harvard. Some odd hour in Melbourne at the moment, but I feel like we both really have no regrets about the path we took, and we're both really enjoying the journey, and we'd love to share that with you and just converse with anyone in our community or anyone who wants to join us, because in Clubhouse you can pretty much join any live event that's going on similar to Facebook Live. So again, do check that out. And Laurie is going to tell us a bit about our next talk story, which is going to be more of a full-blown talk story. This is like a little mini episode today, talk about our program, and then she'll switch it back to me, and I'm going to talk about our special guest and our cooking demo. So with that, let me turn it back to Laurie.
Okay, thank you. Well, and if you saw our first talk story, it will be similar to that, except Jess and I were actually here together in my studio in Arizona at the time. So this next one will be on Saturday, November the 13th, and she'll be in her studio, I'll be in mine, but we're going to bring this to you kind of like what we're doing today, but it'll be much more expanded. We will have a Hawaiian word of the day, and we'll tell you more about what our Hawaiian backgrounds are and why we did this talk story thing. And it's just one of those, kind of fun things that we thought we can do. And we're actually hoping that we will be able to do these in person at some point too, once we get, past all this craziness that we're in. But for the November 13th event, that will be at 10:30 Hawaiian time. That's 12:30 Pacific time and 1:30 Mountain time. And again, we'll have a word of the day. We'll talk about our writing process because we have totally different genres. So we'll talk a little bit about how we do, what we do, how we got these books out, some of the challenges with that. And we'll probably talk about women empowerment, which is something we're always very interested in doing. And then, of course, we will have some giveaways then, and we'll have some other fun things that are going to be happening that Jess is going to tell you about. So that's going to be again Saturday, November the 13th, 10:30 Hawaiian time because of our special guest, hopefully, 12:30 Pacific time and 1:30 Mountain time. So let's go back to Jessica and have her tell us a little bit more about the special guest.
Well, and don't forget 3:30 Central and 4:30 Eastern
time.
Oh,
you're good. There you go. That's right.
Yeah, and the time zone will have changed by then. So that's why
right.
Laurie and I will not be on the same time zone. So, we went from being together, broadcasting together. This time we're doing it separately, and we're going to even bring in a third person. That is, I mentioned earlier about technology. That's going to be interesting because we're planning to use Zoom and then push it to Facebook Live. So again, we're just using a lot of these technologies. Again, with both of our communication background, we're very interested in new technologies and things like that. But we are still learning this. So we appreciate anybody who joins along with us, and hope maybe it inspires you to give some of these things a try with some of your different things. So special guest. Okay, we're not revealing our special guest name yet, but I want to tell you a little bit about what we have planned. Our special guest cooks professionally. In fact, she owns a restaurant, and she's very busy right now launching a couple of new businesses. But our plan is that we're both going to don our aprons. I have one apron on today, and we're going to be doing a cooking demo. We're going to be cooking out of the Turkey Savvy cookbook. Again, just in time for the holidays, we want to inspire you. I know we're still, a little bit limited on gathering and so forth, but love the idea that, home cooking is just something that home cooking is the new luxury. And I feel like it's just nice to make at least some of the meal, if not the whole meal. Hey, a lot of us have the time these days, right, at home. So again, in addition to talking about our books and how they work and everything, we wanted to also just feature kind of a fun activity. Maybe you'll even want to join along with us. And so again, that is going to be on just 2 weeks from now, Saturday, November 13th. That's right. And it's 10:30 Hawaii time. So we're really looking forward to some of our Hawaii folks joining in. You're going to be joining through a Zoom link, or you can tune in on Facebook Live as well. But we will have the Zoom link available for those many, some people don't have Facebook, or they're just not as familiar with how it works, right? I don't know if you have any friends or family or family, as I do, who have a tough time, but many of us have become really proficient with Zoom. So we wanted to try that option with a Facebook Live. and again inspire you to start getting ready for the holidays and so forth. One last thing I'll add before I turn it over to Laurie, and we're going to start wrapping up today's talk story. But uh, one thing that our special guest feels very strongly about, as do Laurie and I, again, is this theme of female entrepreneurship, or just entrepreneurship in general. Between the three of us, I don't know how many businesses the three of us have started. Some have stopped by now, but have started and we're currently running right now. And so, some people may feel like, wow, I, I have this job or I have this career or whatever, but I really would like to, do something on the side, or I'd like to pivot and do something different. But, it's too late for me. Or I'm too tired, or I don't have the skills to do it, or I don't know how social media works, right? We have all these things. And believe me, all three of us have probably gone through our moments, or are going through those moments. But at the same time, we have pushed past our fears to try to move towards things that are interesting to us, whether it's our writing projects, opening up new brick and mortar business, as our special guest has done, and so forth. And so, again, that's part of what we want to share with you, is a lot about our writing in books and what we are trying to convey, but also a little bit about some of the other things that we're doing that may be of interest. So with that, Laurie, how can we get ready for recap maybe our different upcoming events, and then how can we start getting ready for the upcoming holidays?
That's right, absolutely. So my event is Tuesday, November the 2nd at 5:30 Arizona and Pacific time, a launch party for my new book, Bleeder, crime fiction mystery novel in my series Behind the Mic Mysteries. If you go to my website that's on the screen now, read lauriefegan.com, you'll find out more about it. But it's basically about a young radio reporter who covers the Chandler, Arizona crime beat. She helps the police solve cold cases, and then because she's in this gritty crime world all day, she writes murder mystery podcasts at night. And we're going to tell you about some other exciting ventures that I have coming up in the new year. And then we will have Jessica's Clubhouse event on November 11th. And definitely check the social media for all the different time zones, because you're going to need to know that for November 11th. And then Saturday, November 13th will be our Talk Story episode 3 at 10:30 Hawaiian, 12:30 Pacific, and 1:30 Mountain. So, holidays are coming up, and we've heard all about these shipping issues here. So, if you're looking for a great read, if you're looking for a super cookbook to get ready for Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday, you can find my books on Amazon. And if you just search Laurie Fagan, you'll find it in books. You can go to my website, and the links will take you there as well. I'm happy to give you a signed copy, and I can mail you that as well for $10 and a little bit of shipping. So do follow me, if you would, on Read Laurie Fagan at Facebook and Instagram, and you'll find excerpts and videos and a lot of other things there as well. So Jessica, how about for you?
All right. Yes, absolutely. You know what? One of the most heartwarming stories I think I shared with you, Laurie, is one of my college roommates. Her son got stranded at his college because of COVID, over Thanksgiving. And so at that time, fortunately, the cookbook had just come out. Last November 12th, in fact, was our launch date. And she was fortunate enough to have a copy, and she was able to send him some recipes, get some groceries delivered, and he was able to recreate Thanksgiving with his girlfriend at his dorm or apartment, wherever he was living. That to me was a big part of why I wrote Turkey Savvy, was that anyone, and especially I think the next generation who maybe has not had the experience of cooking yet, or new families and things, or as well as those of us that can't find our recipes where we put them the rest of the year, right, is why I wrote Turkey Savvy. Again, you can find that on my website, savvyfriendspress.com. It's also on Amazon this year, if you prefer that, and you're doing some other holiday shopping. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram, either at my personal page at JCW Poet, or my author page at Savvy Friends Press. So mahalo for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us and letting us showcase our vast collection of shell and seed lays. Right? No, shell and nut I guess these are nuts, not seeds. Well, there might be some seeds in there. All right.
Probably.
But anyway, mahalo, a very early happy Halloween to everyone. Please have a wonderful rest of your day.
And we'll see you again on Talk Story.
With Jess and Laurie.
Aloha.
Aloha.